Morning, everybody. This morning's soap is brought to us by Catie's Bubbles, and you might be able to tell this particular size is smaller. This is a 2-ounce variety, and I can't even begin to name to pronounce the name of this soap. That's what it looks like there on the side. I can just tell you it's an aquatic scent. That's about as close as I can get. Um, that's what it looks there on the inside. This particular 8-ounce, the 2-ounce variety, I should say, runs about $8. And I've got a link down below, but the link I have is to the 4-ounce variety. And I think it's running like 14 or 15 bucks. I can't remember exactly what the price is. Anyway, when I bought mine, there was maybe like 3 or 4 2-ounce variety, excuse me, 2-ounce varieties that was available, but now there's several more. And at $8 a piece, you can kind of do the math, and plus the size, these 2-ounce varieties are a little bit easier to store, and as well you can get several different flavors, for less money. Plus, if you want to travel with it, it's a lot smaller. But this scent, like I say, aquatic scents are subtle. It's not a bright scent. It's not in your face type scent. It is present. You can definitely smell it. But it is, I guess you might say, an easygoing scent, if you will. Especially for a day being Friday, and it's going to be quite busy today. Decided to follow this up with Brut. This one here is Aftershave is Oceans. I've got a link down below. You can find this on Amazon. I got mine on eBay, and the link I got down below is just one of the ones I found, through eBay. Price on Amazon, if I remember right, was a bit steep compared to the one on eBay. Just to kind of give you a heads up, if you decide to hunt for an aftershave that is, I guess you might say, aquatic scent, if that's one of the things that you're looking to add to your den. That's a glass container, by the way. And before I forget, because sometimes I do, the glass opening, that's your, it doesn't have a plastic restrictor, but it is a fairly small opening, so it's not too terribly tough to help control. It's got a pretty decent cap, one of those things I have a tendency to look at. This light's not going to do much good. It does kind of sort of, just a little ways, it kind of goes down into the glass spout there. Helps keep all your goodness inside and doesn't leak out on you. Got it whipped up today in a fine accoutrements lathering bowl with a brush from Heritage Collection. I showed this in one of the previous videos without a knot. I went ahead and decided to go with a knot from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. This is a Nexus hybrid knot. It looks an awful lot like a cashmere knot. It feels an awful lot like it. I like it. It's a pretty decent knot. It runs you $7 to $8. In other words, it's pretty easy to get a hold of. A 26 millimeter, which fit just fine in here. This one here, a little bit of a story about this one here. This right here, the C-Mon here, that's, I guess you might say, short for Carl Monkhouse. Carl Monkhouse also is, in my opinion at least, is better known for his straight razors. I don't have one. I've read an awful lot about them, seen a lot of them, in other words, and they are those straight razors. There's not a whole lot of them out there, so if you're going to go and get one, you might want to keep in mind they're far and in between, and might want to have some cash readily available. But anyway, if I'm not mistaken, Carl Monkhouse came to the United States by the way of Germany back, I think, in 1937, something like that. But anyway, I think he had a business that he was in business for about, 10, 15 years or something like that. So a lot of his products, in other words, are short-lived in the grand scheme of everything. But it is great to have one of these brushes, and can't wait to get one of those straight razors. Shaver of the day. This one here is the Phantom Blue, or if you're like me, get it kind of twisted in the head, and it's the Blue Phantom. This is an all-plastic shaver from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. There's more than this variety. There's a red one that's crimson, and there's another one, and I can't remember the name of it, but anyhow, it appears to be white, but it glows in the dark. They are an open cone slant, and like I say, they are plastic. And the blade I have in here is a 7 o'clock super platinum. I'll show you the wrapper here in a moment. But this handle is hollow through and through, including the, I guess you might say, the nut that's here on the inside is also hollow, which is, you know, just one of those things to point out. First, those that may or may not matter. The 7 o'clock super platinum blade that I've got from Gillette. This one here comes double wrapped, like this right here. And, excuse me, I think, yes, there are 10 blades in this particular pack here. I don't recall ever using a 7 o'clock super platinum, so this will be my first time go in this particular shaver. This shaver is pretty darn light. It'll, in other words, be one of those that would make for a good travel razor if you're looking to travel lightweight, and not only that, not take up a whole lot of space in your bag. But thought I'd go ahead and kind of keep the blue theme going this morning. I'd already had it laid out to use this morning, planning ahead, I guess you might say. As it goes for putting the knot in your brush, there's a few videos out on YouTube on how to do it and what to use, and you'll find that there's a difference of opinion, different ways of putting it in. Just have to find what works best for you. For me, it was just by happenstance that my wife had some glue that she got from Walmart, E6000, and E6000 works just fine. It's in a tube, squeeze it out, put it in there. It works just fine for me. So far I've not had any problems with it not holding my knot in there, but others may recommend using a 2-part epoxy. The only thing I can say about the epoxy, that you might want to flip the container around. In other words, on the back side, look at the, see if it mentions what temperatures that it is good for, because they do vary. And so, in other words, if you're used to putting your brush in some fairly hot water, some of those they're rated for a higher temperature than others. It is something to keep in mind. The 2-part epoxy, I've used it. It's pretty easy to use. It's not that difficult. And it might work better than, how can you say, you run in the mill Superglue. Superglue, in my years gone by, and I'm sure a number of us have had the same kind of experience with Superglue, that it has a tendency, you use it once, you put the cap on, run into trouble getting the cap back off, or if you are able to get the cap back off, everything inside is, how can you say, one way of putting it is dried out. In other words, it's solid. It's not coming out. So it's one of those things about super glue. But, you know, if super glue's your thing, I have used super glue, in other words, in the past early on. Hadn't had a problem using it outside. It's just the fact that it just seems to me to be a one-time use thing. I've never been able to use it again afterwards because it's frozen solid, if you will. All right, first time use with the Gillette 7 o'clock Super Platinum. The assumption is on my part this is a lot like the rest of their platinum blades. So if you like Gillette Platinum, you know, that's in the blue and white pack, you might be able to compare the two and how they feel in the shave. And then, of course, the also the price. They're not exactly inexpensive, in other words. These are a little bit more expensive than a number of the other blades that I usually buy. I'll try to remember to put a link down below. I guess you might say one of my favorite places to get assorted blades from is Razor Blade Club. It does ship from out of the States, but you know, usually it takes maybe 2 weeks to get your shipment in. It didn't take all that long. I'm not, I guess you might say, in that big of a hurry to get my blades, so I don't mind. And typically, their everyday prices are pretty reasonable. And you can buy a single blade, a pack of blades. In other words, they got listings for 30 blades, 100 blades, just whatever, you know, it happens to be. And they're usually pretty decent if you're looking to buy, if you want the whole pack, whether you need to buy, you know, the 5-pack or the 10-pack or what they come in, as well as some information about the blade maker. In other words, it's coming from Russia, whether it's Teflon coated, platinum, or whatever the coating happens to be. Because typically on the blade pack itself, there's not a whole lot of information sometimes about the blade, very little usually. So it is kind of nice to be able to have a website where you got several blades listed together where you can find out a little bit of information about them. With this being a lightweight shaver, you definitely want to pay attention to how much pressure you're putting on your face. It is different than using a heavyweight shaver. It definitely is a big difference. Probably also has a lot to do with when you first start shaving, what did you start with, what you feel comfortable with. I know I started out back in the day using those plastic disposable cartridge razors, but I found myself liking the heavyweight shavers because they seem to be a little bit easier for me to get used to. Lightweight ones are more challenging to me because you do have to pay attention to the right amount of pressure. With a heavyweight, for me it's really easy to gauge how much pressure you need to put on your face just to glide it across your face and let like I say, the weight of the razor and the sharpness of the blade do the work for you. This one here is somewhat different. You're going to have to put a little bit of pressure behind it in order to get it to glide across your face comfortably. Now, if you're familiar with Phoenix Artisan and Accoutrements razors, this is different than the Bakelite plastic razors that was put out a while back. And I have the one that's Ox Blood, the red one. That's a Bakelite, and this does shave a lot. It's not near as aggressive as the Ox Blood, in other words, or the black or white one that was put out some time ago. So if you used one of those and it wasn't to your liking, this might be a lot more to your liking. It's not near as aggressive. We'll mention, it does take a bit of practice if you're wondering to talk and shave at the same time. Because you have to know when you can talk. And typically I don't have an issue, but it sure does feel like that I nicked myself back there. It may not be bleeding, but I did get something off back there. A little bit of stinging going on. In other words, it happens from time to time. Typically, in other words, everybody's not talking while they're shaving, so it takes a little while to get used to doing that sort of thing. As well as you're not only shaving, but you're trying to keep your train of thought going. I think it calmed down just a little bit, but boy, don't see any blood, but it sure did feel like it would be. This luxury shaving soap, I think is how it's worded. There's two different lines in Catie's bubbles, if I remember right. One's a cream and one's a soap. And I've used both, and the cream is pretty nice. And this one here is the soap side of things, if I remember correctly. There is a difference in between the cream and the soap. You'll have to decide which one you like better. Matter of fact, this is whipped up a lot like a cream. Very smooth. In other words, it feels great on the face. It is one of those, if you prefer not to use an aftershave after the fact, I think that if you work with the residual left over from the soap, your face should feel pretty good. I know it does for mine. Feels pretty nice. I have to say that straight razor shaving and shavette shaving is the one that's very challenging, as it goes for talking and shaving at the same time, because those two require so much attention. Just a little bit of feedback on the against grain pass. You can kind of tell the open comb is leaving a little bit of residual soap behind. I don't think I'll have enough time to get this uploaded. I have a job site visit I got to get to this morning, so it'll probably be later on when this thing finally gets uploaded. Even though I'm saying I'm talking about the morning, and it'll probably be closer to around lunchtime when I finally get this thing uploaded, or late morning I should say. Face feels fantastic. Like I say, if you're one of those that just foregoes the aftershave and maybe just use witch hazel or something of the sort, this would be a pretty nice soap to use. Face feels really good. I mean, it does. It feels fantastic. Feels very soft. Our weather here, excuse me, I'm not sure how it's going with everybody else, but it's kind of funny how we'll go 1 week of steady rain. Next week, it's pretty breezy, it's windy, things are drying out, got the red flag alert, little fires popping up here and there, creating problems. It's just, it's Oklahoma, what can you say? Oh, what was it, just yesterday or the day before, we had a freeze warning. Then you have a high near, 65 degrees. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Just a little bit of stinging this morning, especially on my neck. To me, I think it's important to, when you do a video, to, I guess you might say, include all the mishaps, because they do happen. I mean, even the seasoned shaver that's been shaving with whatever that person happens to be shaving with, and from time to time things do happen, because like I say, you're talking and shaving at the same time, and concentration, in other words, is not always where it needs to be. So you're going to end up with a nick or a cut. And even though it's not bleeding, it sure does feel like it back there. So I guess you might say I did a little bit of a skin removal back there. Not enough to cause any bleeding, but it sure does feel like it. This is a pretty cool shaver though, in the way that it is lightweight. It's a slant, it's open comb. Show you what the rest of it looks like. There we go. Yeah, it is hollow through and through. And this is what the bottom of the base plate looks like. And you can kind of see that this is a brass post. And see if I get this taken apart. That's what that part there looks like. And there's the blade, if you can see that. Gillette 7 o'clock. Pretty good size post. To me, that's kind of important when you're trying to put things together, because those posts, if they're too short, sometimes it can be quite a chore to get that thing pushed back together on a slant razor, especially. This is the fun part for me, is the Brut Aftershave. I saw it in a posting, and it took me a little while to find a place, and I found it on eBay a while back to where to find this. I've got this one here. I think I think the flavor is musk also. In other words, in glass, not plastic, but in glass. This scent is not an exact match for the soap, but the two will play well together. It's a very nice scent. It's just a different take on an aquatic scent, but boy howdy, it does smell good. Like I say, it's a subtle scent, so it's not going to be anything in your face. And if that's the kind of scent you like, this one here is probably right up your alley. I had a great shave this morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.